This is the situation looking from North Korea at the end of game turn 7 of the Korean War. And it's a very tense situation. The UN has only 4 more assets to come in as reinforcements. They're only 1-point infantry assets and 1 air unit. That's it, they will have no more forces. All the forces that you can see on the table are their forces present in the game, except for 1 division and its asset here, which is being reconstituted. Likewise, this is the last month of limited Chinese intervention. So I think 3 Chinese divisions have been knocked out already. They are trying for full intervention, which means I think they get another 12 or 16 divisions, which is a hell of a lot, but they do prove to be quite fragile units. Essentially, they don't have any armour assets. The anti-tank capability is not terrible, but without armour assets, units do not pack much of a punch. Witness the situation around here. We have 3 regiments with some assets there. The assets don't actually add in defence, armour assets anyway. These 3 regiments, they are strong. They're UN 1's Marine. They managed to fend off attacks from 3 divisions of the Chinese forces, and that is what the UN needs. They absolutely have to hold. They made this invasion here at Hungnam, so they have to hold Hungnam as a city there with a port, and Hamhung, which is an inland supply city there, which is providing them with 4 victory points a turn. So they got those this turn. Essentially, they need that because the other thing that happened is the global tension went up 1 point. It's not a disaster at this point, but that's -5 victory points every turn, and the UN, they have everything below the 38th parallel, which is worth 22 victory points a turn. They need 75 now. They're on 93. They need 75 just for a tactical victory, which is 15 victory points a turn. But because they got -5 for the global tension, that means 20. So they if they hold everything below the 38th parallel and global tension doesn't go up again, they will get a tactical victory. It's likely global tension is going to go up again at some point. We've got 5 turns left. So if it goes up early, it's going to be very hard to gain 10 victory points above the 38th parallel with these communist forces assisting the North Koreans. The North Koreans have 1, 2, 3, 4 full strength divisions and 1 depleted division here, and they are getting reinforcements at the rate of at least 1 a turn. So similarly, the UN are getting the same sort of rate of reemplacements of ROC divisions. They're a bit weaker. They're sort of quite good for holding lines and so forth, but they don't come with armour assets, which is what you need to punch in. Over here on the east coast, these units have both moved up. The North Koreans are being very careful with their armour assets. So they've assigned 1 here, 1 here, and there's 2 here. So this is a high top priority for them to punch out this beachhead here. It's going to be very difficult for the UN to hold on because they haven't managed to clear the harbour of mines, so they will not be able to supply those units there. They just reinforced them with 2 brigades with armour assets to try and take out some of those attacking divisions, but it is taking up a lot of the other defenders, so hopefully the UN are hoping to take Wonsan the next month, if not the month after, pushing back the North Koreans here. But anyway, as I said, a very tense time. That the UN is kind of fighting partly the weather because we're in winter, which means the interdiction of the North Korean supply, but if you keep forgetting they're on Chinese interventions, they don't worry about their supply. But rather, I think comes in somewhere else. But anyway, Okay, that's it. It's the fact that in the weather you can only have 3 air units on combat air support, which is at maximum of 6 points, and that's effectively you can have a 1 +1 or -1 modifier on 3 attacks, 3 defences, or 6 attacks, 6 defences per turn. You're going through 2 action phases. That's not a lot of assistance that the air are able to afford during these winter turns. We've got 3 more of them. So the interdiction's been going fine. That's slowed down the communist Chinese. But it's not likely to end in a draw because there's only 5 victory points sort of envelope for that. So it's either likely to be a tactical UN or tactical North Korean, and at the moment it is very much in the balance. The other thing with the weather is that it's a direct modifier on the supply level for the UN, and that they haven't had. Last turn they only had limited commitment. They couldn't get accelerated, which would have given them 50% extra factors on attack. It makes a very big difference if you're aiming for offensives. And now they have to make the decision whether to try and... oh no, they can't supply there, can they? Yeah, so it's all going to be from here. We'll see what level of supply they get next turn. So the start of turn 8, global tension did not go up. The UN have successfully interdicting these 3 northern middle provinces to slow down the North Koreans. Again, the UN only gets limited commitment. They move their depot up to border the 38th parallel here. Over it would have been another modifier in the die roll to bring it from Incheon into a further province. So that's it for the situation. End of turn 7, right at the beginning of turn 8.